All right. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are here with Gabe Petersen, my new good friend here. And he says he's going to help us get started in the business of real estate investing, the hows and the whys of why you should do that. Is that right, Gabe?
That's absolutely right. I'm excited to be here, Brian.
I'm excited too, but we shall see. We shall see if he can if he can do that for us today on this episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of the Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, and we are back with another episode of the Authority Project. You are the project, and we want to slap authority to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And we have Gabe in the virtual stage right now with us today. How you doing, Gabe?
I am doing fantastic. Calling from beautifully sunny / not sunny Seattle, Washington here. So glad to be here.
Nice. Love Seattle. Awesome. So yeah, let's get started, man. Before we dive in, tell the people who you are personally and then professionally.
Personally and then professionally. I love it. So yeah, my name's Gabe. I'm up here living in Seattle, born and raised. Went to UW college up here. So
nice.
I'm bred and born here in Washington State. And other than that, I live down here in Tacoma. I'm trying to think about myself personally. Professionally, what I do is I'm a real estate investor. I'm in real estate. And also podcast. I got the Real Estate Investing Club podcast, and then at the realestateInvestingClub.com. We interview investors, tips and tricks, stuff like that. And then we also do for active investing, I do mobile home RV parks, and I've gone through the gamut of all the different types of real estate stuff out there. So hope to give you guys some good tips here.
All right, I love this. Okay, so tell us what your current project is at the moment. What are you working on?
I'm always working on a ton of things, but so we're just closing down a 43 unit RV park out here in Washington State. We're in the final stages of due diligence. We just pumped all the septics, got to watch that fun process, get all the, if you guys have never pumped a septic, it's not fun to do, but it's fun to watch from afar. If you got a nose on you.
Okay.
So we're just finishing that one up, finishing up the due diligence there, and hopefully we can close it in the next few weeks here. And then on the podcast side, we what do I got on there? We just still producing episodes, and we're finishing up our course to help people get started in investing. So those are the big things on the docket.
Very nice. So do you have a daily routine, or does that vary from day to day with your investing?
Yeah, daily routine.
Yeah.
I used to pride myself in my routine, and I have a daily routine that I want to do every day.
Right. Exactly.
I usually I always do something in the routine, like maybe 1, 2, 3 things, but I never do the full thing. But I do. It's like a 5-step morning routine that I want to do. In fact, in 2021, that's my goal, is to do that entire routine for at least 2 months.
Nice.
So we'll see if that works. Cross your fingers for me.
Nice. So let's go. Let's get right to it then. Tell us first. You know what? I want to know first about the why. Tell us why you think more people should be getting into real estate investing. Now, isn't this a mixed bag? Come on now. Come on. Give us the real deal stuff here. Come on. Bring it to us.
So
why?
I obviously I'm biased because I'm in real estate. I really love it. There's a ton of reasons why. First, it's a great business. I started businesses in the online sphere. I did an e-commerce store. I did digital marketing. I had my own agency. They're great. I mean, there's tons of good business models out there if you're talking about creating your own business. Real estate is the only thing that I've done so far that there's like real tangible results. There is a structure. There are things that I'm actually building and doing and adding value. So that's kind of like my own why. I really like real estate. I like the process of taking something that looks crappy, giving it some love, and then seeing the end result and something that people can actually use. Outside of that, there's obviously the financial why. Real estate, the statistic that I like to use, and you can Google this too, is 90% of the world's millionaires actually made their wealth in real estate. It's an actual statistic out there. So real estate it's one of the tried and true ways. If you're talking about the financial side and you want to achieve financial freedom for yourself and your family, real estate is definitely the best way to do it, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And so when you're talking about why, there's the why of it's a lot of fun. I love real estate. It's a great business model. There's the why of you're actually contributing to your community. You're taking these structures that they're falling down. They need some love, and you're bringing them back to their former glory. And then there's the why of the financial side that it really does. It's one of the best ways to actually achieve financial freedom that I know of today.
Okay, so I like how you say it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but even before, like in this whole segment, you said there was some work. So that's my biggest thing. Maybe that's one of my bigger questions is, doesn't this take a lot of work? How is that fun, Gabe? How is this a fun thing? There's a whole lot of work involved.
You gotta be a glutton for punishment. That's what it is. But yeah, no, it takes a lot of work for sure. I would never, if somebody just wants a quick fix and they just, they're looking for an easy solution to something, real estate's not an answer. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of front loaded work. So you have to find properties, you have to identify the properties, whether they are good property. Then you have to get into due diligence. You have to identify whether that specific deal is going to be a good deal, once you're through with rehabbing it. And so there's a lot of work that goes into the entire process. It's not easy, but it's fun because you get to see the beginning and the end result once you're actually through the process.
Yeah. So I'm going to get back into some more of these thought-provoking questions, but let's get into the get started part. How does one get started? Because I think the first question in everybody's minds is that, isn't this expensive? Doesn't it take like tens of thousands of dollars to get started in this industry?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And it is, I mean, there's multiple ways. That's the other reason why I really like real estate. There's tons of ways to go about doing it. And so the easy way is if you have money. If you have a lot of money, real estate's a lot easier to do because that is what, you do have to buy these properties. You have to go out there and you have to take them down. So if you have money, it's a lot easier. It'll be an easier time for you, but there's plenty of ways to do it that you don't need a ton of money. I hate it when people say you don't need any money. That's never true. You always
no money down. Yeah.
You can do no money down, but you need to get in contact with the seller. So you need to do marketing. You have to have marketing dollars. So you're always going to need a little bit of money, but there are ways to go about getting into real estate without having a ton of upfront capital. So there's something called wholesaling. Obviously, you can become an agent. That's a tried and true method is being a real estate agent. I only do investing. I'm not on the transaction side, but so if you're not an agent, you don't want to go that route. You can do something called wholesaling, which is essentially just finding a seller, getting that seller's house or whatever it is under contract, negotiating it, getting it under contract, and then assigning that contract to another buyer for a fee. So let's say I got, Brian, you have this house that's just falling apart. I come to you and say, hey, Brian, I'll buy this from you for $100,000. You say, yeah, that sounds like a very reasonable price. Sign it over to me as a contract. I assign that contract for $105,000 and I take that $5,000 spread to another buyer. And then I get the $5,000. The other buyer gets it for $105,000 and everybody's happy. So that's the way to do real estate without doing any money, or without having any money to put into it. So
you're just the middleman in that sense, right?
The value that you add to the chain is finding the property. So that is what wholesaling is. It is marketing. And marketing is not free. So There are ways to do it free, but
Yeah.
but you really do, you need to spend money on marketing in order to do it effectively. So that's one of the easiest ways to get started is wholesaling. You can also just market directly to sellers and then negotiate for no money down, like you had mentioned. There are a few sellers that are willing to do that. Let me just be straight with you guys. You're going to have a hard time finding the
I thought
seller.
that was the popular way to do it. No money down. It's all over the place. No money down,
that's,
man.
that's what the gurus say, right?
Yeah.
I challenge them to find a ton of those out there. Yeah, you can do that. You can definitely negotiate, the terms to where there's no money down. It's a hard thing to actually land, but it's possible.
Okay. So, this is it's weird because my son tried to do this a little while back, and he was getting all into it. I think he was doing wholesaling, but I think after a while he just needed more money. He would find some things, but he needed the money. Yeah. And I saw some people. I know several people who started here in the city of Boston. They started, and then they said that the deals just the market just closes up on them. Yeah. So what do you say for people who start and then they're just like, this isn't working, or they have a team? Here's another thing. Like after a while, you're gonna need a team to really like build up these properties. When they're run down, you need some reliable people to build these properties up. What if you don't have that, or what if you have some people and they're not reliable, and then like you're stuck with these properties? I'm thinking about all the challenges. I'm throwing all these challenges at you.
Yeah.
Money, team, marketing. Yep. Finding a buyer. How give us the system that has worked for you, Gabe. Give us the system that like this is how I've taken all those things and made it like boom, 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 1, 2, 3, and we're good to go.
Well, yeah. I mean, when it started out, it was scrappy and it was sloppy, and you build over time. It's not, people try to get started in real estate and they don't find success in the first couple of months, and then they quit. And it takes time. I mean, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. The more people you meet, the bigger network you build, the more resources you have to do different types of deals. Wholesaling is just, I said that because you said, how do you get started? I like to say wholesaling because it is a very easy way for someone who doesn't have experience to get into it and understand the process of real estate. But once you do, that's not like the end goal. There are some guys who have killer businesses just wholesaling. Generally, that's not the case. We buy mobile home and RV parks, and we actually take them down, and we're the GPs on the projects. We complete them. Okay. But it took me a while to get here. There's a lot of experience that you have to get over time and build up your systems. We have a CRM system that's super, super dialed in. You have to get your data really right. So when you start marketing, one of the primary ways that people do that is direct mail. Direct mail is really effective, but you have to have a really good list that goes behind the direct mail. So you have to buy that list, and then you have to send out the mail on a consistent basis, not just one time. And then you have to have the systems that will take that call and bring it into an actual sale. So probably 95% of the calls that you get aren't going to be deals. They're just people tire kicking or whatnot. They're not actual deals. They're not ready to close. So you have to have a system to kind of go through that. And that is something that you build up over time. It's not something that you're going to have just straight out of the gate.
Okay. So how many people are on your team right now? What should we aspire to as far as that is concerned?
So the direct team is 3 partners. Okay. But when you're talking real estate, the teams are, I consider everybody that we work with part of our team, even though they're not really part of our team. So, I mean, you got title folks, you got our contractors, lawyers, our project managers, our property managers, our park managers. There's tons of people within the team of a real estate transaction that will help you. But they're not necessarily on the team, but our direct team is 3 core partners.
All right. So what kind of tools should people be looking for when they're trying to look for properties and so forth? What do you use? What should they use starting out?
Yeah.
Should I say?
So, so we do. I have a book on my website, the Real Estate Investing Club. In the ebook, and if you look in the upper right hand corner, it says "Get the ebook." That ebook will have a ton of bonuses that go along with it, and that is all the tools that I can. It's all free. I just give it. The book itself is not free. I think it's $7, but that's just to cover the cost of the podcast. And then all the bonuses are free. And so you guys can check that out if you want. Specific tools. I mean, there's a ton of tools that I use. Shoot, which one's a really good one? Let's see. Podio is probably. I mean, if Podio went down, we'd be screwed. That's our CRM system. That's where we kind of keep our leads. Okay. We even have our rent roll in there, or our tenant list, and so we can keep all the information in there in one place. Obviously, Google Drive is super important. I mean, there's a ton of other tools. When it comes to marketing, probably the one that is the most effective on the digital side is Google and Facebook ads. Those are the ads that we find the most success with.
Okay.
On the digital side would be ringless voicemail and then direct mail. So Sly Broadcast is ringless voicemail. It's a really good tool. And then direct mail, we use yellowletterservices.com. Which is another good service to use. They're really cheap. It's like 40 cents per postcard. So you can get a good bunch out there for relatively cheap.
Okay. So when you're just starting out, say if we got a decent amount of money, or partners who are willing to start, do you start locally? Do you just start, we're not gonna pigeonhole ourselves to our own market, or do you, which way is better, locally or nationally? So
that's a cool thing. In every single market, there's going to be a deal. Okay. There are better markets and worse markets. Some markets are appreciating faster than others. Some are depreciating. But generally, if you're in a decent size MSA metro statistical area, like a city, then there's going to be deals. So your backyard is the best place to look for a deal. If you want to go national, you can, but I just wouldn't recommend it, because in order to close a deal that is across the country, you have to build a team in that city. You have to, have a property manager to help you out. You need a real estate agent to help you out. You need people on the ground, boots on the ground, in order to do it effectively. And it's just so much easier if they're in your backyard. Maybe you probably have a contractor uncle that's really good at fixing up houses. So you have a network in your area already. So it's a lot easier to do things that are in your backyard, regardless of what city you're in.
That makes sense. So I'm very interested in your this little niche about the mobile homes perspective aspect of what you're doing. Why mobile homes? Why did you choose that market as one of your main things that you guys do?
Yeah. So I've been doing single family, multifamily, and then mobile homes. So one of our partners was really into mobile home parks. And so he kind of sold it on us. Okay. And the sales pitch, if you will, quote unquote, for why invest in mobile home and RV parks is mostly because of the structure. So when you buy, first of all, it's a recession resistant asset class. And so, if there's a recession, mobile home and RV parks tend to not get, or long-term RV parks tend to not get as hit as other asset classes. Outside of that, there's also just the fact that what you're doing is you're leasing out the infrastructure, and you're not leasing out the structure. So another really popular asset class to invest in is multifamily apartment buildings. When you own an apartment building, let's say you have a 300 unit apartment building, it's a great asset. However, you have a 300, living units.
Right.
And you have to, if a sink breaks, that has to be taken care of. Obviously, you're going to have a property manager, but there's more headache when it comes to actually owning the structure versus just owning the infrastructure. So when you rent out a mobile home park or a long-term stay RV park, really what you're renting out is the community and then access to the infrastructure. So to the hookups, the water hookup, the electrical hookup, sewer hookup, and then creating a nice, clean, inclusive community within that. And so there's a lot fewer things that could go wrong in a mobile home RV park.
Makes sense.
And I mean, with that said, there are a lot of things that can go wrong, but still, you don't have to deal with the structure, which makes it an easier purchase.
Awesome. Are there any things that you guys have stay away from? That's just like we're not going to do this anymore, or you've done this before. And like we're not going to do this. We're never going to do this again. anything like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, within mobile home parks, if it's on septic and well, we're actually buying one. The one we're buying right now is on septic and well, and I'm not a fan. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with septic and well. It's more things you need to maintain, and it's not something that I would recommend. If the right deal came along, obviously we would go forward with it. But septic and well it's not good in my opinion.
Okay. Now here's the industry that I got interested in because a couple of years ago I did a tour, like a hotel tour here in Boston. Every month we went to a hotel. One of my things I do with streaks, and I got very interested in the hotel industry. What I didn't realize is that the whole industry is really just real estate.
Yeah. Yep.
I had no idea. That's how it worked. So is that something is that the same thing? I know that's a whole different kind of industry, but is that something that you guys have thought about at all? Anything like that, but in the hospitality industry, and doing it that way?
No. So for the commercial side, I'm really just focused on mobile home RV parks.
Okay.
And then multifamily, so apartment buildings. I mean, I know hotels, motels, they're a good asset class too. It's just not every asset class that you get into, you have to learn it. You really have to understand it.
Right.
And so it's not something I have my niche and I just don't want to learn another asset class.
Stay in that lane. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Hey, stick with what works. I got it. So here's my question to you. As I talked about examples of people who started and stopped. What do you see that people who have started and kind of given up on the industry, why that is? What are they doing wrong? What do you see them doing wrong where they're to a point where are they investing too much in too many things? Are they seeing one thing that failed and like, this isn't going to work for me? Is it just that they have tight money? What is it that they're starting and they cannot continue sustain investing in real estate?
Yeah. I mean, when you get started in anything, I always say you're never doing anything wrong. I mean, obviously you're doing things that are ineffective, but it's not wrong because you're getting started. You're going to make mistakes. And so when people get started, the reason that they leave, in my opinion, is usually because they don't have support. They don't have a network. They don't have a mentor. They don't have people that are kind of helping them along the way. And so, real estate can be very hard. And there's a lot of no's that you have to run into. And so if you don't have those people behind you that kind of say, hey man, you're doing a good job, just keep going, just keep hitting the pavement, keep building your business. If you don't have that, then you're likely to just kind of fade away, and you can't sustain the required amount of effort that you need to put into it in order to make it successful over a long period of time.
Wow, that's good stuff, man. Great stuff, man. I love everything that you're saying right now. So I don't have much else, but I do have one last question for you, and it goes something like this: there are people out there listening to you now. They're being more inspired now to get into the industry because of what you said today. They want to get started. They have similar goals, similar interests as you, and they either want to get into investing or make a big leap like you're doing, where you're helping other people, do real estate as well. Can you tell them, and I'll put you front and center, can you tell them in your own words how they can become an authority in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, authority when I hear the word authority, what it means is that you have either more experience or just more knowledge than other people. So the easiest way to become an authority in real estate is to go out and do real estate. Go do a deal, go get started, do anything. I gave that example of wholesaling. You can do that. You can just get started in wholesaling. the more experience you have, the more of an authority you become. And once you have that experience behind you, you can start things that are ancillary to that main action. So, I started in investing, and then I started a podcast around investing. So things just kind of blossom as you grow. But it all starts with just getting out there and getting experience. Go out there and do a deal. Go out there and meet people in the field. And that's probably the best advice that I could give somebody that is looking to get started.
It's great stuff, Guy. Gabe does amazing. I'm glad you got on here. This is really like our first show about real estate, to be honest. There are people who have done real estate, but this is the first person actually talking about it in depth. So I appreciate you. He showed us the how, showed us the why. And now please tell us where they can go to see you after the show.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love talking to anybody interested in the field. So shoot me an email. The best place to find me is just go to the podcast. The podcast is The Real Estate Investing Club. And the website for the podcast is therealestateinvestingclub.com. So check that out. Again, we have that ebook you guys can grab with all the goodies that are attached to it that you get for free. We also do, we're launching a group coaching and one-on-one coaching. Hasn't been launched yet, but it will be in the future. So you guys can check that out if you want.
Great stuff. Amazing. And I have nothing else. That's great. great stuff. But just one thing, everybody, make sure you get on that authorityletter.com. That's my little newsletter. I have about 3 different videos to help you build your authority platform, just like Gabe is doing every day. And make sure you hit this guy up, realestateinvestingclub.com. Please go there. I didn't know 90% of millionaires did real estate. I should have known. Maybe I forgot.
Yeah, Google it. It's crazy.
But that's very interesting. I think I want to do hotel stuff. I'm very fascinated with the hotel
Do
industry.
it.
I had no idea I would be so fascinated with them. It's just like, oh, okay, there were ways to make this easy.
Yeah.
Or of course, there were ways to make it hard too, I guess. Hotel industry is not doing too well in the pandemic. In the pandemic, I'll tell you right
I was going to say right now it's going to be a hard time for that industry.
Right. Oh God. But hey, it's hard for everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. This is great. We're a week out from, or 2 weeks out from the new year. I hope everybody's gonna finish strong. It's not over, right, Gabe? It's not over.
Right.
Gabe is still he's probably to close some deals, man. So hey, there's still work to be done in 2020. Okay.
That's right.
So I appreciate you coming through. Any last words before we get out of here, Gabe?
Nope. As you said, I just want to echo that. Hope everybody has a great remainder of the year. We got 2 weeks in this thing, and then kick off 2021 strong. So have a good New Year's.
All right, there it is. Everybody, build it, share it, and they will come. I'm out until next episode. See ya.
See you, man.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.